Weed. Just gonna wait for everybody to come in. Gonna read Phil Hines' Oven Ready Chaos. Short read. Real informative. Yo, what's up? What's up, Perry? We having a good day, man? This is Oven Ready Chaos by Phil Hine. Little introduction into chaos magic. It's got some Discordian bits in there too. They do come from the same scene. This will be a neat kind of dive into the machinations of magic. We're not going to be practicing anything, of course. We're not going to be summoning anything. But yeah, it's a good read. Kind of takes the ironic parody, and instead of a religion and philosophy, it takes it to the realm of magic and ceremony. Yo, what is up? Scrode, how you doing, my brother? We doing alright. Gonna have a little weed alert here. Weed. My second cup of coffee right here. I had some honey for breakfast, and I don't know why it made like my mouth break out. I think they're called they're not blisters, but they're like very weird small dots. And people in my family have them, and I've never gotten them until right now, when I had like 3 spoonfuls of honey, raw honey. Maybe it's a reaction to that. I typically don't have that much every morning, but I thought today I would have some. I think they're going down, but yeah, fucking annoying. This pure Kino. Airsoft Fatty was there. He looks way healthier. Yeah, I saw he's been losing some pounds, losing some inflammation. Shout out to Airsoft. We believe in you. You can do it. Very glad to hear you had a good time at the show, man. What is up, Midas? How you doing? We're doing all right. Hope you can stick around and have me read this to you. Pretty short read, and it's cool. But before that, it's a tiny weed alert for the soul. My arm is still swollen and the scabs are still bleeding. What the fuck? Is that from your hike? Or when you went hiking, or what happened there? You need some vitamin K to get that bleeding to stop. Oh yeah, you were BMXing. Damn, that's intense, dude. Yeah, jeez. Well, yeah, baking soda, right? Put some on there, or some sugar, cane sugar. Put that on the motherfucker. I'm serious. Fucking bird, man. Fucking bird. So like a rusty bed spring. That's funny that you hear him from the kitchen. He's loud though. He can get crazy loud. Crazy. Man, I have great childhood memories of building and riding dirt jump trails in the woods, pure mirth and Kino. Damn, that sounds awesome. Being out and about, having fun, causing trouble with friends. Mirth as fuck. Make your own dirt ramps. Does sound fun as hell. BMXing at SnodCon, it's gonna be real. Alright. Need something a little bit more upbeat for this reading. Oh, am I adding stuff to the queue? This is fine. My communist city turned the dirt ramps into a dog park. Oh dang. Now cops show up when you try to use them. Those motherfuckers. This is now a Jewish comedy Schizo Kino stream. It always has been. What's up, Hoganable? How you doing? Gonna do some reading. Might as well jump into it now, you know. What's that? This book is dedicated to the Hydra's teeth, wherever they may fall, whatever may spring up. chaos. Everything is true, everything is permitted. What is magic? What is magic? Several definitions float into my mind, but none of them do it full justice. The world is magical. We might get a sense of this after climbing a mountain and looking down upon the landscape below, or in the quiet satisfaction at the end of one of those days, when everything has gone right for us. Magic is a doorway through which we step into mystery, wildness, and imminence. We live in a world subject to extensive and seemingly all-embracing systems of social and personal control that continually feed us the lie that we are each alone, helpless and powerless to effect change. Magic is about change, changing your circumstances so that you strive to will according to a developing sense of personal responsibility, that you can affect change around you if you choose. That we are not helpless cogs. Oh shit. Gross. Sorry. In some clockwork universe, all acts of personal collective liberation are magical acts. Magic leads us into exhilaration and ecstasy, into insight and understanding, into changing ourselves and the world in which we participate. Through magic, we may come to explore the possibilities of freedom. Of course, all of this is poetry, and just a waxing. Like, magic is pretty objectively, all the the goetic stuff and the ritual stuff and the demon interfacing is what it should be, really. But for the purpose of this, Discordian text, we are kind of embracing the parallels they make, and not so much like the objective facts that they're trying to lay down. I'm sure the people practicing magic or demon interfacing believe all of this stuff. But yeah, it's not. It's not 100% this. I'm sure they're aiming for that, but typically what they get involved with if they start practicing any magic, even chaos magic, is that it enslaves you. But so far, everything that's being talked about is good. It's not objectively the realm of magic, really. But here, chaos magic is kind of like the religious, maybe? No, magical sector of Discordianism, where it's kind of like a parody, ironic display. Kind of helps you pick out the core of it, like the system of it, without having to subscribe to beliefs or rituals or symbolisms. We may be reading this book, but at the end of it, we will not be practicing anything. You will not be doing chaos magic. I will not be doing chaos magic. We're just reading through this for the ideas, which are very mimetically strong. Keep going here. Surely this is simple enough, but no, magic has become obfuscated under a weight of words, a welter of technical terms which exclude the uninitiated and serve those who are eager for a scientific jargon, which to legitimize their enterprise. Abstract spiritual spaces have been curated in the midst of which the babble-like Lego constructions of inner planes, spiritual hierarchies, and occult truths which forget that the world around us is magical. The mysterious has been misplaced. We search through dead languages and tombs for secret knowledge, ignoring the mystery of life is all around us. So for the moment, forget what you've read about spiritual enlightenment. Becoming a 99th level magus and impressing your friends with highfalutin gobbledygook. Forget about that. Magic is surprisingly simple. What can it offer? I guess once we're done reading this, I guess we could dispose of the term magic and have all this fall into will. Really. Then it doesn't have to be so occulted and flippity floopity, you know. Should be playing Chatelet for this. You know what? Well, I know a couple of songs you could play there that we could listen to as frogs. What can it offer? A means to disentangle yourself from the attitudes and restrictions you were brought up with, which define the limits of what you have become. Two ways to examine your life to look for, understand and modify, or ways to examine your life to understand and modify behavior, emotional and thought patterns which hinder learning and growth. That's an important one right there. Increase of confidence and personal charisma, a widening of your perception of what is possible once you set your heart and mind to it. To develop personal abilities, skills, perceptions, the more we see the world, the more we appreciate that it is alive. To have fun, magic should be enjoyed. To bring about change in accordance with the will. Well, of course, they throw in the will at the very end. But all these are things within the realm of the will. You can only reach this level, though, if you are fallen and you want to reach these goals here. You do have to bring God into your life and kind of follow His will. Like openly, so that your best will come forth. A will, a person, you become to be able to hit these goals. And for others, they use magic, which is a horrible idea, stupid idea. These rituals and spiritualism and stuff they don't understand to hit these goals. They use magic to hit these goals, where you could just live your life in the most correct way, the most right way, in line with God, in His will. And all of these things will come into your life in a safe way. Not in an Aleister Crowley kind of way. Magic can do all this and more. It is an approach to life which begins at its most basic premises. What do I need to survive? How do I want to live? Who do I want to be? And then gives a set of conceptual weapons and techniques for achieving those things. Chaos magic is one of the many ways of doing magic, and this booklet is a concise introduction to the approach. Chaos magic is also a parody of doing magic. It's like an ironic exercise of doing magic with non-magical systems, but not literally interfacing with the demons, but and like going over the things they do in each system, like their methods. Kind of shines a light on the methods that tend to be common. Thank you all for chilling here and letting me read this this Schizokino to you. What is chaos magic? Good question. Since Since it burst upon the magical scene of the late 70s, it has generated a great deal of debate about what it is, what it isn't, and who's doing it right. Such circular arguments being beloved of occultists, it seems. At this point, it should be tempting to launch into a lengthy discussion of the history of magic leading up to chaos magic, but instead, I'll confine it to a sweeping generalization and say that before chaos came kicking and screaming onto the scene, the dominant approach to doing magic was the systems approach. What is a magical system? Magical systems combine practical exercises from bringing about change with beliefs, attitudes, a conceptual model of the universe, if not several, a moral ethic, and a few things besides. Examples of systems are Kabbalah, the different Wiccan traditions, the Golden Dawn system of magic with all its grades, costumes, mottos, and the increasing number of westernized shamanic paths that are proliferating nowadays. As far as most magical systems go, before you can start to wave your wand around or bounce up and down on your head till you reach enlightenment, you have to spend a good deal of time reading up on the beliefs associated with the system, learning to do its do's and don'ts, committing to memory lists of symbols and correspondences, how to talk to your fellow magi, and in some cases how to dress, walk, and chew gum at the same time. Wait, hold on. Okay, my grandma's talking with somebody. Yeah, what's the song? Back to this. Well, magic, like some of the great religious messages, is essentially simple, but is prey to the process whereby simple ideas become extremely complicated beliefs, which can lead you further and further away from doing any magic at all. Weave back through time to somewhere in the Paleolithic era to find a tribal shaman sitting on a rock, gaping at visions revealed by a soggy piece of toadstool. Fast forward a few millennia, and you'll find a magical system that compromises several 100,000 words, obscure diagrams, and appendices which will probably state at some point that drugs are a no-no. The birth of chaos magic came in the late 70s, at about the time that punk rock was spitting out music industry and science, chaos science, what's that, was beginning to be taken seriously by mathematicians and blah blah blah. The two names most associated with the birth of chaos magic are Peter Carroll and Ray Sherwin, though there were few others lurking in the background, such as Stoke Newington sorcerers, which later became entwined with the first stirrings of the punk movement. I don't know if I've ever heard of those guys. Some of Pete Carroll's early writings on chaos was published in the New Equinox, blah blah blah, who cares? Bernal, yeah, adults, chaos magic practitioners. Talk about the sigilizations developed by Austin Osman Spare, which is a 1800s occultist / artist. Early growth of chaos magic was characterized by a loose network of informal groups who came together to experiment with possibilities of the new current. With the demise of the New Equinox, the Chaos Kids developed or reported the results and he or she's in the book of Chris Bay's new magazine, The Lamp of Pod. Just a history on chaos magic, don't really care too much. Psychonaut, still remember that one being shared a lot back in the day. For those who want to practice chaos magic. It's pretty, it being like a parody of magic, deconstruction of magical systems, it's pretty weak. And typically they'll have you like create your own pantheon, your own rituals and this and that, your own lore. But yeah, still weak compared to a real system like the ones they described there. I guess it can be fun though. I would still advise against it then. The basic message of chaos magic is that what is fundamental to magic is the actual doing of it. That like sex, no amount of theorizing and intellectualization can substitute for the actual experience. Peter Carroll's Liber Null therefore presented the bare bones of the magical techniques, which can be employed to bring about change in one's circumstance. Liber Null concentrated on techniques, saying that the actual methods of magic are basically shared by the different systems, despite the differing symbols, beliefs, and dogmas. Yeah. What magic systems you wish to employ is a matter of choice, and that the webs of beliefs which surround them are means to an end, rather than ends in themselves, more of which later. An important influence on the development of chaos magic was the writings of Robert Anton Wilson and co., particularly the Discordian Society, who revered Eris, the Greek goddess of chaos. The Discordians pointed out that humor, clowning about, and general lightheartedness was conspicuously absent from magic, which had a tendency to become very serious, self-important. There was, and to a certain extent remains, a tendency for occultists to think of themselves as initiated elite, as opposed to the rest of humanity. Unlike the variety... Vaporwave might be a good chill vibe for this. Unlike the variety of magical systems which are all based in some mythical or historical derived past, such as Atlantis, Lemuria, Albion, chaos magic borrowed freely from science fiction, quantum physics, and anything else its practitioners chose to, rather than trying to recover and maintain a tradition that links back to the past and former glories. Chaos magic has an approach that enables the individual to use anything he/she thinks is suitable as a temporary belief or symbol system. What matters is the result you get, not the authenticity of the system used. So chaos magic then is not a system, it utilizes systems and encourages adherents to devise their own, giving magic a truly postmodernist flavor. Yeah, a good name for it would be postmodern magic, which there is a book out there called Postmodern Magic, and it's basically like an even more stripped down version of this, where chaos magic still has some of the inklings of Discordianism and some of the weirdness. That postmodern book was pretty bare bones, almost mathematical. Didn't read the whole thing, just read the intro. After which I realized, oh shit, I already know all this stuff. Needless to say, chaos magic began to acquire a sinister reputation. This was due to three factors. Firstly, that its pick and mix DIY approach to magic was frowned upon by traditionalist schools. Secondly, that many people associated chaos with anarchy and other negative associations. And thirdly, that some chaos magic publications were hyped as being blasphemous, sinister, and dangerous, in a way that they were not, which proved all the same to be an attractive glamour for those who required such a boost in the ego. It's kind of interesting to read this, like the way they're writing it, because they're clearly not talking about Christians. They're talking about occultists, so these people hang around people who are like Wiccans and like Satanists or whatever. Or Kabbalists, probably. Practicing Goetia. So it's funny that these guys kind of like come in to be like almost like a like an angelic version of punk, like or angel version of punk. Trickster angel. Where it's out to I don't kick dust into the eyes of traditional magic, and thus a certain strain in history of evil. That's pretty base to me. Oh, I gotta fucking pee right now. Alright, I'm back. Lifting weights, and then I'm reading Keynote to you. Let's go. We're growing all the muscles, even the brain. At Walsh working the field with a ball gag. Each time he feels so sick to work, LaQuisha goes into the machete pit. This novel I'm writing. Nice. Yeah, Matt got kind of a push into the right wing like last year or 2 years ago when he was calling out transgender people. But yeah, being from the Daily Wire, he's just like a neocon weenie. He's really behind the times and ultimately subversive to us cool people. How about some Windows 96? Anyways, back to this, yes. The subversive nature of chaos magic. Subversive to the subversive nature of magic. The historical nature of magic. The mid-80s gave rise to a second wave of the chaos current. 1985 saw the publication of the Cardinal Rites of Chaos by the pseudonymous Paula Pagina, which outlined a series of seasonal rituals as performed by the Yorkshire-based Circle of Chaos. Thus, by this time, the early cooperations between the exponents of chaos had given rise to legal wrangles, literary sideswipes, and even magical battles. For some at least, chaos magic equaled loads of money, while others discovered that they had a position to hold as a defender of the title of spokesperson for a movement. Truly to its nature, chaos splintered and began to re-evolve in different ways. 3 different magazines emerged to continue the chaos debate: Chaos International, Nox, and Baraku's Chaos. International was formed on the basis of networking, specifically the idea that the editorship would change hands with each issue. A good idea in principle, it gave rise to practical problems such as address changes, obtaining bad copies, and that meant each issue had to be virtually self-supporting. Nice. That's a cool idea in and of itself. Chaos International survived 5 different editorial changes, after which it passed. Okay, I don't care about this really. History of Chaos Magic, don't really care too much. Yeah, blah blah blah. You can learn all this if you want. Miracle's Chaos introduced a situationist perspective into the chaos debate, predicted the glamour for chaosisms as experimentation turned inevitability into fashion accessory. And they proceeded to identify various magical leaders and tear them apart with the eagerness of a whole pack of Greek cynics. The debate over the progression of chaos raged throughout the zines and aforementioned alternatives, blah blah blah, egos, allies. By it being an anti-system, like or an anti-movement, they call it an irreligious disorganization. So once you believe the dogmas, and once you believe any of its own dogmas, like you fail. But that doesn't stop people. Of course, you can do whatever you want. So if you do want to make a system and adhere to it, or adhere to the non-system, you could do that as well. It is chaos, but this is set up from the beginning to not be able to coalesce into one thing, because that's not the nature of it, really. Neocon we need, yeah. There's so many still left. There's people trying to keep us in the realm of the 2000s, the 2010s. Like, no, we're dragging everybody into the future. Neocons go home. All this history. Might skip the whole Chaos Magic chapter. Okay, here we go. Principles of Chaos Magic. While magical systems usually base themselves around a model or map of the spiritual physical universe, such as Tree of Life, which can sometimes be described as a cosmic Filofax. Chaos magic is based on a very few core principles which generally underlie its approach to magic. They are not universal axioms, however, so feel free to swap them around. The avoidance of dogmatism. Chaos magicians strive to avoid falling into dogmatism, unless expressing dogmatism is part of your temporary belief system. Discordians use catmos, such as, "Us Discordians must stick apart." Thus, chaos magicians feel entitled to change their minds, contradict themselves, and come up with arguments that are alternatively plausible and implausible. It has been pointed out that we invest a lot of time and energy in being right. What's wrong with being wrong occasionally? It's almost like a type of mindfulness meditation, or steel manning, like meditative steel manning, ideological steel manning. The avoidance of dogmatism. Don't take yourself too seriously, or your dogmas too seriously. Personal experience is paramount. In other words, don't take my word that such and such is the case. Check it out for yourself. Magic has suffered extensively from armchair theorists who have perpetuated myths and out-of-date information purely due to laziness of one kind or another. Sometimes it's interesting to ask awkward questions just to see what the self-appointed experts come out with. Some will admit a stream of verbal diarrhea rather than admit to not knowing the answer. Whereas the true adept will probably say, I haven't a fucking clue. Quite early on, chaos magicians came to the startling discovery that once you strip away the layers of dogma, personal beliefs, attitudes, and anecdotes around any particular technique of practical magic, it can be quite simply described. Technical excellence. One of the few misconceptions about chaos magic was that it gave practitioners carte blanche to do whatever they liked, and so become sloppy, or worse, soggy. Their attitudes of self-assessment, analysis, and so on. Not so. The chaos approach has always advocated rigorous self-assessment and analysis, emphasized practice at what techniques you're experimenting with until you get the results you desire. Learning to do magic requires when you develop a set that you develop a sense of skills and abilities. If you're going to get involved in all this weird stuff, why not do it to the best of your ability? So true. Deconditioning. The chaos paradigm proposes that one of the primary tasks of aspiring magician is to thoroughly decondition himself to the mesh of beliefs, attitudes, and fictions about self, society, and the world. Our ego is fiction of stable selfhood which maintains itself by perpetuating the distinction of what I am, what I am not, what I like, what I don't like. Beliefs about one's politics, religion, gender, preference, degree of free will, race, subculture, etc. all help maintain a stable sense of self, while the little ways in which we pull against this very stability allow us to feel as though we are unique individuals. Using deconditioning exercises, we can start to widen the cracks of our consensual reality, which hopefully enables us to become less attached to our beliefs and ego fictions, thus able to discard or modify them when appropriate, when they're hurting us. Diverse approaches. As mentioned earlier, traditional approaches to magic involved choosing one particular system and sticking to it. The chaos perspective, if nothing else, encourages an eclectic approach to development, and chaos magicians are free to choose from any available magic system. Themes from literature, television, religions, cults, parapsychology, etc. This approach means that if you approach two chaos magicians and ask them what they're doing at any moment, they aren't likely to find a consensus. This makes chaos difficult to pin down as one thing or another. Again, which tends to worry those who need approaches to magic to be neatly labeled and clear. One of the keys to magical ability is the ability to enter altered states of consciousness at will. Oh, gnosis. But be careful with this. It's not to be played around with. We tend to draw a distinct line between ordinary consciousness and altered states, which in fact we move between different states of consciousness, such as daydreams, autopilot, and varying degrees of attention all the time. However, as far as magic is concerned, the willed entry into intense altered states can be divided into two poles of physiological gnosis: inhibitory states and excitatory states. The former includes physical passive techniques such as meditation, yoga, scrying, contemplation, and sensory deprivation, while the latter includes chanting, drumming, dance, emotional and sexual arousal. Yes. All various practical ways of altering consciousness, true. Though you do gotta be careful with them as well. Even meditation. If you don't know what you're doing with meditation, you can be opening yourself up to bad spirits. Infinite diversity, infinite combination. Hey, what's up, Chan? How you doing, brother? We're doing alright. We're, what page is this? 16 out of 68. We're starting off Oven Ready Chaos by Phil Hine. Good read here. We're expanding the Snotters' minds, one snot at a time. As I've said earlier, one of the characteristics of chaos magic approach is the diversity of systems of magic that practitioners can choose to hop between, rather than sticking to one particular one. There are naturally many different approaches to using systems within the chaos corpus, and I'll examine some of them here. DIY, in other words, create your own system like Osmond Spare did. Creating your own operational, valid, magical system is good practice. Whether or not you can get someone else to do the system is up to you entirely. On the other hand, new systems of magic are occasionally commercially valid. One book on a system equals some good ideas. Then of course you have to write a sequel developing the original stuff. Then you might as well go for the accompanying tarot deck, video cassettes, Lego expansion kits. Coming up with your own, mostly original stuff is better, at least from the chaos viewpoint, than doing other people's rituals and continually following other people's ideas. Doing something innovative, especially if you don't know anyone else who's tried it, is very good for building your confidence. I remember years ago doing a ritual and thinking, hey, I drew all the pentagrams wrongly for that one, and nothing noticed. At least nothing nasty appeared out of the woodwork yet. There's a great tendency nowadays for people to try and create metasystems. That is, systems into which can be slotted anything and everything, and will explain given time everything worth explaining. So we see attempts to meld runes with tarot, put virtually anything on the Tree of Life, and much theorizing waffle. There's nothing wrong with this. Again, it is often a useful exercise. It can be fun, especially if you come up with a plausible explanation for something which is made up or dodgy. A few years ago, an occult author released a version of Lovecraft's Necronomicon that sounded good, but which in fact was spurious. He got loads of letters from people who had done the rituals and wanted to chat about the results. Nice. It's very kind of an example of a system, I guess. Well, a world created that's later used by people as a system. You can bet your ass there are people who do rituals or invocations to Cthulhu and shit like that. You can bet your ass they encounter some unpleasant stuff. Personally, I like to use lots of different systems and use them as appropriate. I tend to flip between DIY, Kabbalah, Tantra, Cthulhu, Shamanism, and anything else that I feel too appropriate at any particular time. It's worth going into a system into some depth so that you can become more or less competent and confident with it. But magicians tend to find that once you become competent in one system, then it's easier to get grips with another one. If you're fairly experienced with Enochian, for example, then you shouldn't have too much difficulty with runes. Yeah. Chaos science. Some chaos magicians tend to use a lot of scientific analogies, metaphors in their work. This is okay. After all, science sells washing powders and cars. If nothing can be shown to have a scientific basis, if something can be shown to have a scientific basis, then a lot more people will go for it, especially computer buffs, physics students. Sorry. It all helps with creating the belief buffer. It needn't actually be hard. It needn't actually be hard science. Pseudoscience works just as well. As a number of New Age books asserting that crystals store energy, just like a computer chip does, shows. I'm not trying to be picky, and equally, since it's a belief of blah 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 blah. It was this chaos silliness. It was the Discordians that pointed out that amidst the long list of dualisms that occultists were fond of using. So many S's, Jesus. Get fucking brutalized by S. It was the Discordians that pointed out that amidst the long list of dualisms that occultists were fond of using, the opposites of humor, seriousness, had been left aside. Humor is an important part of magic. As Janet Cliff once said, we're too important to take ourselves seriously. Some members of the IoT Pact, for example, use laughter as a form of banishing. And of course, there is nothing like laughter to deflate the pompous, self-important occult windbags that one runs into from time to time. Important, rituals can be silly and no less effective than ones when you keep a straight face. Magic is fun. Otherwise, why do it? The way that magic is generally conceptualized changes as general paradigm shifts in thinking occur. Until fairly recently, practitioners of magic subscribe to the spirit model of magic, which basically states that other worlds are real and are inhabited by various pantheons of discrete entities. The task of the magician or shaman is to develop a route map of the other world, to know the shortcuts and make a few friends. Having done this, they have to interact with these spirits in a given way to get them to execute your will. So clergymen pray, shamans stuff sacred mushrooms into their orifices in order to meet their ancestors, while demonologists threaten entities into submission by thundering out bits of the Old Testament. By the 18th century and the rise of science, the idea of animal magnetism arose in the West, being the first manifestation of the energy model of magic. This model emphasizes on the presence of subtle energies which can be manipulated via a number of techniques. All along came Borlinton and his idea of real energy, Eliphas Levi and the astrolite, mediums and ectoplasm, westernized popular accounts of prana, chakra, and kundalini, and eventually Wilhelm Reich's orgone energy. The next development came with the popularization of psychology, mainly due to the psychoanalytic fads of Freud, Jung, and co. During this phase, the other worlds became the inner worlds. Demons were rehoused into the unconscious mind, and hidden masters revealed as manifestations of the higher self. For some later exponents of this model, tarot cards were switched from being a magical divinatory system to being tools for personal transformation. Just as the goddesses came to be seen as not real entities, but the current up-and-coming paradigm, but not as real entities, but psychological symbols or archetypes. The current and up-and-coming paradigm is the cybernetic model, as we swing into being an information-based culture. This model says that the universe, despite appearances, is stochastic in nature. Magic is a set of techniques for arousing a neurological storm in the brain which brings about microscopic fluctuations in the universe, which lead eventually to macroscopic changes, in accordance to the magician's intent. See chaos science, the butterfly effect, and all that. Another manifestation of cybernetic model coming to the fore is the New Age assertion that crystals work just like computer chips. These are signs that the cybernetic model dovetails back into the spirit model. And in Chaos Servitors, a user guide, you'll find a reasonably coherent argument to support the idea that localized information fields can, over time, become self-organizing to the extent that we experience them as autonomous entities, spirits. Each particular model that has its own glamour with exponents or opponents on either side. Each particular model has its own attractive glamour, with exponents or opponents on either side. Many occult textbooks contain elements of the spirit, energy, and psychological model. It is also worth noting that should you ever find yourself in the position of having to explain all of this weird stuff to a non-aficionado or skeptic, then the psychological model is probably your best bet, yeah. These days, people who ascribe to the spirit model, if they are not of a pagan or occult persuasion themselves, tend to think that they have an exclusive copyright over the use of spirits. Are any spirits out there? Spirits? Is that a phone? If the person is a computer buff or a fractal freak, then by all means go for the cyberpunk paradigm. Scientists only tend to accept something as scientific rationale can be wheeled up to slot into it. A good example is acupuncture, which up until recently was explained using the energy model and poo-pooed by the scientific establishment until someone came up with endorphin stimulation. Now most hospitals have a set of needles. While some magicians tend to stick to one favorite model, it is useful to shift between them as the situation befits, as some models have a stronger explaining power for accounting for some aspects of magic than others. The spirit model, being by far the oldest, can account for just about any aspect of magic. Psychological model, while being useful for looking at magic as a process for personal development, has difficulty with aspects such as tribal shamans cursing Westerners who don't believe in magic, who then see the shaman squinting at them, and still break out in hives or boils, either way. If you narrow yourself down to only using one magic model, then sooner or later the universe will present you with something that won't fit your parameters. When you are spending more time defending your models rather than modifying them, then you know it's time for another spot of deconditioning. Report to Room 101. Hey, what's up, Sicario? Haven't seen you in a while, man. Be doing alright. I'm reading Oven Ready Chaos, an introduction to chaos magic. Stick around, this stuff is very useful. This stuff is at the root of the Keck stuff. You can bet your ass the Keckers and the meme magicians knew about chaos magic and Discordianism. We ain't gonna be practicing anything. There ain't gonna be no spells done. But we are gonna be parsing this very valuable information. No, I've known about this stuff since, I mean, like 2010s, early 2010s. Discordianism, back then the paranormal forums on 4chan were my thing. So there were a lot of esoteric threads, you know, Buddhism threads, Hermeticism, magic, and stuff. A lot of people discussing everything. Oh no! Circle of protection on Pomod. You've been researching yourself? Nice, nice. Yeah, before you start anything, maybe stick with us. Watch this. Could save you a lot of trouble. Get your Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Well, if you're doing chaos magic, you can. Yeah, stick around. We're gonna be parsing esoteric truths. Right now, though, I've been reading for a good 50 minutes. I'm gonna take a weed alert. Motherfucking weed alert. Hope everybody's doing alright. Thank you all for chilling. I'm trying not to jumble the words too much. Well, what stuff have you been reading, dude? What kind of magic stuff? The Bible based. That's the only one you need, brother. Yeah, I'm not a super adherent Christian, but I am a Christian. That is part of my worldview. Totally. I wouldn't say I have too much of a chaos approach to it. Besides, well, I don't. I guess if I wanted to, I could say, oh, I borrow bits of Hermeticism and Taoism. All that stuff is in Christianity too. And God is the Almighty. So where can you go wrong there? Yeah, chaos magic. It's good to learn just so you know what other people are up to. You know, what Kabbalists are doing. Goetians. Wiccans. Also, some of them can be funny because it's written by people who are like around these people all the time. So they're like rightfully just annoyed with them. They talk about traditionalist occultists in this book, and obviously that doesn't refer to Christians. There's very little reference to Christianity in this book, actually. The Ninth Gate. No. I'm pretty bad with movies, to be honest. Is it on YouTube? I'd be down to watch it. Oh. Oh, it's the Johnny Depp movie. Roman Polanski. I've seen, like, a long time ago. I saw this movie like at a Blockbuster on the shelf. Just because I thought, you know, Johnny Depp. Well, I'm guessing it's a book about occult societies. I'm sure Polanski knew a thing or two about that. Now watch it. Find a download, or if anybody wants to send old Pomod a movie, a brisk download, maybe with subtitles, please send it to snodweedanus@gmail.com. It's my proprietary snod email, so I could get all your Kino. Sorry. Sorry. Yeah, I watched it years ago, rewatched it recently, and I fell in love with it again. Dang. Well, if it's Polanski with Johnny Depp, it probably is good. My doggy. Chapter 3. The Discordian Society, in its own words, a tribe of philosophers, theologians, magicians, scientists, artists, clowns, and similar maniacs who are intrigued with Eris, goddess of confusion, and with her doings. The existence of the Discordian Society was first popularized in Robert Anton Wilson's Illuminatus trilogy, and also in Mal Eclipse the Younger's book Principia Discordia, which sets out the basic principles of the Discordian religion, a religion based around the Greek goddess Eris. Traditionally, Eris was the daughter of Nox, knight, and the wife of Cronus. She begat a whole bunch of gods: sorrow, forgetfulness, hunger, disease, combat, murder, lies. Nice kids. The ancient Greeks attributed any kind of upset or discord to her. With the fall of the ancient empires, Eris disappeared. Though it is suspected that she had a hand in manifesting the first bureaucracies, triplicate forms, and insurance companies. She then put in a personal appearance again on Spaceship Gaia until the late 50s, where she appeared to two young Californians who later became known as Omar Ravenhurst and Mal Eclipse the Younger. Eris appointed them to keepers of the sacred cow, and gave them the message to tell constricted mankind that there are no rules unless they choose to invent rules. After which, Omar and Mal appointed each other high priest, and declared themselves to be a society of discordia, whatever that may be. Greater poop. Is Eris true? Everything is true. Even false things? Even false things are true. How can that be? I don't know, man. I didn't do it. Eris has been has since climbed her way from historical footnote to mythical megastar, and the Discordian movement, if such a thing can be said to exist, is growing on both sides of the Atlantic, held by the Discordian tactic of declaring that everyone is a genuine pope. More people are getting into the idea of a religion based on the celebration of confusion and madness. The central Greek myth that Eris figures prominently in is the ever-continuing soap opera of Mount Olympus, home of the gods, the episode which inadvertently brought about the Trojan War. It seems that Zeus was throwing a party and did not want to invite Eris because of her reputation as a troublemaker. Infuriated by the snub, Eris fashioned a golden apple inscribed with the word Callisti, to the prettiest one, or to the fairest one. The direct translation is fairest, which is a bit of a it's a vague word compared to pretty. And tossed it to the hall where all the guests were. 3 of the invited goddesses, Athena, Hera, and Aphrodite, each claimed the apple for themselves and started fighting and throwing food around. To settle the dispute, Zeus ordered all 3 to submit to the judgment of a mortal over who was the prettiest. And said mortal was Paris, son of the king of Troy. Zeus sent all 3 to Paris via Hermes, but each god tried to outwit the others by sneaking out early and offering a bribe to Paris. Athena offered Paris victory in battle, Hera great wealth, while Aphrodite merely loosened the clasp by which her tunic was fastened and unknotted her girdle base, also offering Paris the most beautiful of mortal women. So Aphrodite got the apple, and Paris got off with Helen, who unfortunately happened to be married to Menelaus, king of Sparta. Thanks to the meddling of Athena and Hera, the Trojan War was followed, and the rest is history. Nowadays, in our more chaos-positive age, Eris has mellowed somewhat, and modern Discordians associate her with all intrusions of weirdness in their life, from synchronous to mischievous occurrences, creative flashes of inspiration, and wild parties. She does get a little bitchy at times, but who doesn't? Yeah, that's the founding myth of Discordianism, the golden apple story. I was looking up Venus. Of course, it's not the Greek, but the Roman goddess. The ancestor of the Roman people through her son Aeneas, who survived the fall of Troy and fled Italy. Yeah, her counterpart is Aphrodite. And Aphrodite, she has various names, like the prettiest one, the most beautiful. It's an interesting thing to find out. Because Venus and Aphrodite also like rule apples. So it's an interesting thing to have happen, because if the apple said to the prettiest one, it would obviously have gone to Aphrodite. But it said to the fairest one, like the direct translation. I can see where that would cause some confusion, like just a straight up grammatical confusion, semantical confusion, like throwing the gods into a fucking fervor, causing the Trojan War. That's pretty fun. But some of these more celebratory aspects of Eris they have here could be attributed to Venus as well, or Jupiter. But they also have a part of the joke is that she controls bureaucracy and insurance claims and stuff like that, which is more of a Saturn thing, really. But that's how they laid out their mythos, because Eris was supposed to be the goddess of their current reality. So Eris was to explain everything happening in the world, all the chaos, and also all the bureaucracy and order. Doesn't make sense, of course. It's not supposed to. That's the history of Discordianism. Here we got some Discordian opening rituals by Prince Prance. Clap 5 times. We got an Arisian prayer. Left hand in my head. Fire in my genitals. Strength at my right side. Laughter on my left side. Love in my heart. Trace spiral patterns at the 4 quarters in zenith. Face east. Blessed Apostle Hung Mung, Grace Sage of Cathay, Balance and Hodge and Podge, and grant us equilibrium. Face south, and then you say that. Face west, and then you say that too. Face north, face south. This obviously being a parody of a ritual. Note: for more on the spiral pentagram, see the next section. 1. Here's some notes from that. Hung Mung is the Discordian link to the Chinese mysteries and is none other than he who devised the sacred cow. He is patron of the season of chaos. Dr. Van Mojo is the fellow. Oh, it's just some Discordian characters. Oh, and all of them relate to the different seasons, which are the Discordians that renamed Discord, Confusion, Bureaucracy, and Aftermath. Spiral pentagrams. This bit explains the spiral pentagrams referred to in Discordian opening rite. The traditional pentagram is a very solid geometrical figure. I find its association with banishing to be very appropriate. Yeah. The pointed part down, one pointed part down, pentagram is banishing, and with 2 sides pointing down is invocation, if I remember correctly. So what I thought one day would happen if I started using a 5-pointed star made up of curves. You can see the result of a few minutes with a compass below. Unlike the traditional pentagram, which has a pentagon shape in the center, this one repeats the petal formation. So when I draw it, and they're a bugger to draw in the air at first, I visualize the outer petals spinning clockwise and the inner petals spinning anti-clockwise. No particular reason. And the whole figure becoming a 3D tunnel, twisting into infinite space. Pretty, eh? I had a close friend of mine that read this and apparently saw one of those spiral pentagrams in a dream. It was like a portal to a different part of a dream. Thailand's magic culture. That sounds badass, dude. You can also have Perry read it on his program. The Snodian, Scrotparian Book Club. The first time we tried them out was, appropriately enough, in a ritual invocation of Eris, and they seem to work very well. They don't keep things out, they tend to draw energies in. You can also use them in astral projection, or in chaos speak, virtual magic. I've had them turning up spontaneously in dreams as astral doorways. Oh shit. So, totally forgot about that part. I think I might have drawn one just to see how it was like, but I was never for invocation or banishing or anything like that. Though banishing is good. Apparently these do not banish. Sometimes doing a normal pentagram over them just for good measure. Oh, nice. To seal them, I reverse the spinning of the lotus petals and leave them and have them become flat again. They seem to work well when used in a free-form style of working, but not when used with a trad system, such as the Lesser Key of Solomon. The entities in there are strictly conservative in how they like being evoked, I find. If you try out the spiral pentagrams, by the way, I'd love some feedback. With all magical techniques and rituals, it is important to distinguish between process and content. One of the first messages of the Chaos Current is that while content is to some extent arbitrary, the underlying process upon which rituals are based is the important bit. The Scordian opening ritual, for example, is a variant upon the theme of centering or banishing rituals, wherein the aim is to place yourself at the center of all acts of magic. Here, centering rituals also act to warm you up for the main event, as it were, the entry into a space where for the moment nothing is true and everything is permitted. Following the main object of a working, performing the centering rite again prepares you for moving back to the sphere of common consensus reality. Rites such as the standard banishing ritual of the pentagram or the IoT's Gnostic banishing combine gesture, speech, breathing, and visualization for different content, but following the same process, identification of the four cardinal directions plus the fifth point which presides union with spirit, chaos, or Kaya. Such ritual acts produce change in the atmosphere of the area which are worked in, and with practice these feelings automatically come online whenever the rite is used, so that the shift between everyday reality and its concerns and magical reality, the purpose of the ritual, for example, is clearly perceived. Oh, there we go. Looks like a little flower, almost. Spiral pentagram. I wonder if like a normal pentagram designed this way would be invocation. But I guess he drew one the normal way. I mean the upside down way. It was also invocation. I wonder if he had it like this form of it, this side up. If this would be a protection version of the spiral pentagram. But of course it's not very powerful, you know. He said it doesn't work with trad systems, which is the main thing about chaos magic or making your own system. It is pretty weak compared to the real shit. Thank you, Scroat. Appreciate it, buddy. Sigil magic. Sigilization is one of the simplest and most effective forms of results magic used by contemporary magicians. Once you have grasped the basic principle of sigilization and experimented with some of the most popular methods of casting sigils, you can go to experimenting with forms of sigil magic which are unique to you. If done in a chaos magic way, I guess they could be harmless, but I still wouldn't fuck around with creating your own sigils for things you want done, or for love, or for fortune, or anything else like that. Maybe if you create one with God, create a holy sigil with God and with your creativity. That could be good. I don't know if anybody's tried that. Like drawing a prayer, maybe. That might be good. Yeah, watch out even for light and like innocuous magic, like manifesting that shit. It can still lead to not good energies coming to you or being attracted to you. Stand up here for a bit. The Core Sigilization Project a process can be divided into 6 stages, which I will explain in the acronym SPLIF. Specify intent, pathways available, link intent to symbolic carrier, intense gnosis, indifferent vacuity, fire, forget. You go through here, and of course you get this very much a real process, but it is again a way of showing to you what other systems do when it comes to symbols, or I guess talismans or amulets. This is how they put that energy into them. Specify intent, pathways available, link intent, gnosis, intense gnosis, or forgetting about it, burning it. Oh, which could include orgasm, reaching the point of blackout from hyperventilation, or being asked a question about the boring talk that you were supposed to have been listening to. Then you forget it. The ever-changing tangle of desires, wishes, fears, fantasies jostling around in our minds can be linked to a garden, albeit a somewhat unruly and overgrown one. Flowers, weeds, creepers, and the occasional buried gardening rake. Going through the sigilization process can be likened to becoming suddenly enthusiastic about tidying the garden up. You isolate one plant, your intent, separate it from the others, feed it water, and prune it till it stands out from the rest and is clearly visible on the landscape. Then suddenly got bored with the whole job and go indoors to watch television. The trick is, next time you look at the garden, not to notice the plant you so recently lavished attention on. If the intent gets tangled up with all the other stuff in your head, you tend to start projecting various fantasy outcomes. And what you'll do with the money when it comes, how it'll be with the boy girl of your dreams, and the desire will get run into all the others, thus decreasing the probability of manifesting it in the way that you want. A useful attitude to have when casting sigils is that once you've posed one of the multiverse, is that once you posted one off to the multiverse, which, like Santa, always gets the message, then you sure that it's going to work, so that you don't need to expand any more effort on that particular one. Such confidence tends to arise out of having had some success with it. The results often come about when the intent has become latent. That is to say, you've completely forgotten about it and given up on coming about. The experience is similar to trying to hitch a lift on a deserted road in the dead of night. You've been there for hours, it's pouring down rain, and now, with an arrow dread, certainly, is this a British person writing this? I have a feeling it's a British person. What the hell, eh? 5 minutes later, you get a lift from a boy-girl anteater of 2 sigils back, driving a Porsche and asking how far you want to go. Maddening, isn't it? One aspect of chaos magic that seems to upset some people is that chaos magicians occasional fondness for working with images culled from non-historical sources, such as the Cthulhu mythos beings, mapping the Rocky Horror Show onto the Tree of Life, slamming through the astral void in an X-Wing fighter, and channeling communications from gods that didn't exist 5 minutes ago. So you might see why using this sort of thing as a basis for serious magical work raises 1 or 2 eyebrows in some quarters. After all, the Lovecraft stuff isn't fiction, but about linking in with inner plane contacts, additions. Surely you can't do magic with something that doesn't bear any relation to history or mythology. In the past, such criticisms have raised over the subject of magicians working with fictional entities. In this section, I hope to argue the case against these objections. The first point to make is that magic requires a belief system within which to work. The belief system is the symbolic and linguistic construct through which the magician learns to interpret her experiences, and can range from anything between good old traditional Kabbalah to all this new age. I heard it off a red Indian shaman on his stuff. It doesn't seem that a British woman wrote this, or at least this part, because Phil Hine is a man, from what I know. Doesn't matter which belief system you use, so long as it turns you on. Read that again, it's important. Eventually, some magicians seem to develop their own magical systems, which work fine for them, but are a bit mind-boggling for others. Osmond Spare's Alphabet of Desire being a good example. The key to magical success is a veracity of belief. If you want to try something out and come up with a plausible explanation, then it is most likely will. Pseudoscience or Kabbalistic gibber, or both, it matters not so long as the rationale you devise buffers the strength of your belief in the idea working. I find that this happens a lot when I try to push the limits of how I try to do some magical action that I haven't tried before. Once I come up with a plausible explanation of how it could work in theory, then of course I am much more confident about doing it, and can often transmit this confidence to others. If I'm 110% sure that this ritual is going to bloody well work, wow, then it's all the more likely that it will. You can experiment with this using the techniques of belief shifting, metaprogramming, a good example being the chakras. The popular view of chakras is that we have 7. Okay, so meditate on your chakras, hammer the symbolism into your head, and hey, presto, you'll start having 7 chakra experiences. Now switch to using the 5 Sephiroth of the middle pillar, Kabbalah, as the psychic centers in your body, and sure enough, you'll get accordant results. Get the idea? Any belief system can be used as a basis for magic, as long as you can invest belief into it. Looking back at my earlier the Tree of Life with the Rocky Horror, that's pretty funny. Criminologist, Brad, Frank, Columbia, Rocky, it's a Time War. Looking back at my earlier magical experiments, I guess what used to be important for me was the strong belief that the system I was using was ancient, based on traditional formulae. A belief system can be seen as a matrix of information in which we can pour emotional energy. We do as much when we become so engrossed in watching a play, film, or TV program that for a moment it becomes real for us and evokes appropriate emotions. Much of what we are served up on a silver screen is powerful, mythic images and situations, repackaged for modern tastes, which is the cue to start going on about Star Trek. More people are familiar with the universe of Star Trek than any mystery religion. It's fairly safe to bet that more people are. The final proof of all that being that one of my colleagues had to sit. We get it. And so back to the Cthulhu mythos, Lovecraft himself was of the opinion that fear, particularly fear of the unknown, was the strongest emotion attached to the Great Old Ones. The reason why I like to work with the mythos occasionally is that the Great Old Ones are outside most human mythologies, reflecting the shadows of the giants in Norse myths, the pre-Olympian titans in Greek myths, and other groups of in-universe builders who are thought to be too chaotic for the polite company of the gods in the ordered universe. For me too, the nature of the Great Old Ones as shadowy beings who can only be partially glimpsed is attractive. They can't be assimilated and bound into an orthodox system of magic, and I get much fun from working out suitable approaches for working with them.
Great old ones have a very primal nature, which for me provides the emotional buffer for magical exploration. Having said all that, I no doubt left you thinking, weird person who likes messing around with tentacled slimies. I might also like to mention that I've had some interesting results with the magical systems of C.S. Lewis. Narnia? Nice. Nice. I mean, personally, I wouldn't want to mess with the primordial demons. That sounds like a not good idea. But since they're not part of a real historical tradition, or at least they don't have one on Earth right now. Like, he's basically trying to talk to these primordial entities with the weakest form of magic that there is, so not much way for him to get fucked up, I guess, but I'm sure opening up with the nature of magic, you can open yourself up enough and construct something in your mind enough to have it manifest, which is why I gotta be careful. Like some of the stuff being thrown down, like that belief can alter your world, like in a very real way. It's dangerous knowledge. It's forbidden knowledge. You don't want to. If you're not right, if you don't have your shit right, if you live in a world where your belief creates your world's gonna be horrible. So for most people, that's not a thing they should be told. You know, you shouldn't be telling everybody, "Hey, you're the god of your own world and you create your own world." Most people don't need to hear that, and not in the "oh, don't cast pearl before swine" kind of way. Like if you do that to people, they will hurt themselves, or become depressed, or break their minds. Books are bad unless you're over 200 IQ. So true. Give that link scroll. Oh, shit. Alright, Jeff, hold on. Hold on, I want to watch this, but I gotta pee real quick. Ooh. Well, hold on, screw that. This is not a normal stream. I wanted to just read this book. And we're, oh shit. We're more than halfway through. It's a short read. Nah, you're good. I will save those links though. And I will come back after we finish up the book. I do appreciate it though, man. Do appreciate it. Really appreciate it. You're listening to neoclassical James Ferraro. This is almost over. I'll rewind it after it ends. It's probably the best in his neoclassical work, his digital classical work. His more recent digital classical stuff is kind of boring. Thing about metaprogramming is that you can adopt a belief for a relatively short time and then drop it again. Practicing ritual magic, it is generally a good idea to Jesus fucking sometimes reading out loud stuff that's like purely like typed out. It's fucking painful. Too many S's, too many running on sentences, which work great when you're reading it. I'm sure feel awesome when you're typing it. Having to read it out loud is a pain in the ass. In practicing ritual magic, it is generally a good idea to behave as if they were real. All those things that you're using in your magic. So in a Cthulhu Mythos ritual, nothing will help build the necessary tension. Then you adopt the belief that if you, geez, who fucking wrote this? That if you get it wrong, Cthulhu will slime you. Of course, outside the ritual, you don't have to believe in Cthulhu, and that even now, a slimy paw appears on my window. Gee, this sucks, what the fuck? So my conclusion is that my intensity of belief is the key in which allows the magical systems to work, whether they be related to historical traditions, which are, let's face it, very often rewritten anyways, esoteric traditions, which have, these fucking run-on words, dude. Run-on sentences. Just to add a little bit of nothing onto shit. This is an annoying thing about Discordian literature is they fucking love to type, they love to fucking write out a fucking huge paragraph. They're fucking jizzing. Writing this like paragraph long sentence. Fucking jizzing. is your ability to be emotively moved, or use them as vehicles for the expression of your will that counts. If it works for you, do it. There, easy. Basic exercises. These exercises have been compiled from a variety of sources and possibly have little inherent value of themselves, though they could be fun to try and may have a far-reaching. Could be fun to try. One acquaintance of mine began his foray into chaos magic by taking on the belief system of being a born-again Christian. He's still a born-again Christian, but seems to be happy. When obtaining any magical result, including failure, always think of several explanations for it. These explanations should contain at least one of each of the following types. An explanation based on the parameters of the magical system that you have been employing. Strict materialism, something exceptionally silly. When you have been experimenting with belief shifting for a while, try contemplating two which appear to be mutually exclusive, such as Christianity and Tantra, Islam and radical feminism, New Age Celtic revival, and Marxism. Well, I don't know how mutually exclusive those last two are. But I see what the point. Meditations in Menzies. What? Oh, and zines. Playboy, Spare Rib, Marquis de Sade. Do not put live toads in your mouth. 4. 5. Do not. Wait. 5. Everybody else in the world is a Buddha except you. They're all waiting for you to get your act together, so get out of bed and get going. Buddhahood is especially manifest in all the people who carefully avoid on the street. Try being consistently wrong. Make wild statements, and then, when somebody pokes a hole in your argument, admit your mistake, profusely if necessary. You can be wrong about the time, the day of the week, any expressed political statement, etc. Gods and Gurus. 7. Possession by an entity, God, spirit, drug, allows you to do things that you would not ordinarily feel able to. So to some extent, does the confidence of having a guru. Oh my god! Like, what's the point of having to some extent in there? Oh yeah, I put to some extent in here. Oh yeah, I'm putting more words in it. Oh, I love putting words in my book. Oh, I put more words in my book. I'm so smart. Oh, I'm putting words in my words. I'm putting sentences in more sentences. Oh, I'm gonna pray. Fucking word cells, man. We can get through this though. So does the confidence in having a guru. Having a guru is being possessed by the guru. Such figures provide the confidence that you can walk a tightrope without falling off, play in the deep end of swimming baths without drowning, or run around wearing orange robes. Sanity is out there rather than in your head. Most people tend to say that they are mad compared to the rest of them. Chaos magic allows you to send your mad thoughts out for a night occasionally. Contrary to what comes over in books, magic is a street level activity, gutter level even. Look at the zigzag path of the trickster as expressed by Crowley, Cagliostro, Simon Magus, and the rest. Learn to juggle, mime, pull rabbits out of your hats. Pass the top hat and get a laugh or two. In space, no one can hear you giggle. Chaos is nothing less than laughing matter. If you want to see true magic in action, watch a Marx Brothers movie. Harpo could blow up a glove and milk it. How the hell could he do that? Chaotic attractors occasionally fuel... chaos attractors. Occasionally you will be sure to run into someone who seems to attract chaos wherever they go. Obviously they have some kind of mighty power, but are often unaware and merely embarrassed by the frequency of weirdness they always abound. Study them carefully and you might learn a thing or two. Deconditioning. As I pointed out earlier, it is relatively easy to shift between magical beliefs and produce concordant results. This is not to say, however, that all belief shifting is so simple. Some levels of our attitude belief structure are remarkably resilient to the conscious change. Indeed, some structures are able to resist change by remaining elusive and invisible to conscious awareness, and must be dragged into self-revelation. If I may use the analogy of beliefs as buildings, around the walls of which house the wind of Kiev, then the continual process of deconditioning may be likened to chipping away at the towers, with the occasional nuke provided by recourse to a powerful form of gnosis, such as sexual ecstasy, pain, overload, or Albert Hoffman's elixir. Deconditioning is a continual process. Even as you discard one set of limitations. In Tantra, this is known as who cares. You may find that you acquire new ones, usually unconsciously. Often, belief structures are nested within each other, and may have roots in a powerful formative experience. Timothy Leary calls this process imprint susceptibility, where the imprint follows a baseline response to experience, and establishes the parameters within any subsequent learning takes place. Leary's 8th circuit model of metaprogramming can be employed as an aid to deconditioning. I would say you wouldn't need the 8th circuit model of consciousness. You get something much more simple in religion. Hey, what's up, Negus? Aphrodoli? How you doing? You a Cumtown fan? One of the many Cumtown fans that come into my stream. Are we doing alright? We're reading Oven Ready Chaos by Phil Hine. Sit tight. Being mindful that deconditioning process is not merely an intellectual experience. It is relatively easy to intellectually accept some experience or belief which you have previously rejected. It takes more resilience to take action from your new position and risk the emotional upheaval that may result afterwards. For example, a young male magician of my acquaintance examined his own belief about his sexuality and decided that he would focus upon his own distant fear of homoeroticism. He found that he could accept intellectually his repressed attraction to other males. Oh geez. And thus thought himself liberated. He then went on to have several homosexual encounters, which he said did not give him any physical pleasure. Of course, but merely fed his belief that he had sexually liberated himself. So true. Deconditioning is rarely simple. Often people who have an experience of illumination report that their old repressive structures have dropped away. Tear down a building in the city of identities and it grows back, sometimes with a different shape. One of the effects of intense gnosis is the shattering of layers of belief structure. But it is generally found that unless follow-up work is done, the sense of shattered belief structures is transitory. You should consider that the effects this process is likely to have on others. See Reinhardt's The Dice Man, for an amusing and instructive tale of one man's approach to deconditioning. The ego, a self-regulatory structure which maintains the fiction of being a unique self, doesn't like the process of becoming more adaptive to experience. One of the more subtle defenses that it throws up is the sneaking suspicion, which can be good. Jeez, whatever. That you are better than everyone else. In some circles, this is known as magicitis. Magicitis? And it is unknown for those afflicted to declare themselves to be mages, witch queens, avatars of goddess, or spiritual masters. If you catch yourself referring to everyone else as the herd or human cattle, then it's time to take another look at where you're going. Myself, I prefer the benefits of empathy and the ability to get on with other people than the limitations of being a reclusive would-be Raskolnikov, dreaming of serving slaves. While we might echo the words of Hassan Sabah that nothing is true, everything is permitted, acting totally from this premise is likely to bring you conflict with those individuals and authorities who have prefixed views on what isn't permitted. Thus, despite the glamour, chaos magicians are rarely completely amoral. One of the basic axioms of magical philosophy is that morality grows from within once you have begun to know the difference between what you have learned to believe and what you will to believe. Some excellent pointers towards the process of deconditioning can be found in Peter Carroll, Aleister Crowley. No, I would not go into any of these books. Not even Liber Null, which is the chaos magic book. And definitely not Aleister Crowley. He is a load of horseshit. Come to Eritrea, you love white men. Weird gay black guy in the chat. We gotta nuke him. No. We colonize Muslims and we toe tag them, so nothing new to us. The beach Orthodox Christians. We also colonizers of Negroid bush people and pagan black stone kissing Muslim African homers. That sounds pretty cool, I'm not gonna lie. They eat bushmeat, we gave them Christ. They would be zero without us. So true. Afro-Asiatic. Oh, you're an Arab? You're an Arab? Okay. Well, as long as you're not a Muslim. Just kidding. But not really. Christian? Alright, you're good with this. This is a Christian stream. Even though we are reading Chaos Magic work. It's mostly for the intellectual part of it. We're not performing any kind of ritual here. I'm from Tenochtitlan. Yes, I did eat the hearts. I did drink the blood. Hey, what's up, Negus? First time Snotter? Hashtag my Nile River. That's fucking funny. Eritrea, and Ethiopia versus Black Stone Kisser, Somalia, Sudan, Egypt. Ilhar Omar thinks her job can prevent Habesha supremacy in Africa. White America gave Somalis in Minnesota too much power. So true. Expendable Somali rats, they see you whites as kafar. They don't only hate us Habesha, they hate you too. So true. You are speaking facts. Though I'm only white colored, I am Mexican. Though I'm sure she doesn't give a fuck about that. Well, we know all about Ilham. How she got into the US by marrying her cousin, posing as her cousin's wife or something. And now she's in the government. Yo, what's up, Anthol? How you doing, brother? Welcome back. A coffee-flavored scent. Nice. It is halal in Islam, yeah. It's fine for them. Kumala. Wait, how's that coffee zen? No more. We cannot support Zen anymore. They donated to Kamala. Not cool. Anyways, we're almost done with the book. It's going by pretty quickly. But yeah, don't read, you could try reading Liver Null. It's pretty boring. Like reading Chaos Magic Rituals is like, what the fuck, why am I reading this? And you should think that. You pretty much don't need to read any. After reading this book, you get it. It's all pretty simple stuff to get. And yeah, definitely don't read Aleister Crowley. Unless you want to eat doo-doo. Talk to demons. 10. Keeping a diary despite the glamour of chaos magic. As being spontaneous, do what you like, smash the Sephiroth, and lose your demon guitar magic. It is generally considered that keeping a diary of experiences and magical experiments is essential. A magical record charters your progress, failures, blah blah blah. Well, we're not going to actually practice magic, so you don't need to worry about any of this. I mean, having a journal is good for getting strengthening your mind. But I haven't kept a journal since like senior year, when we needed to. For senior year. I'm not a journal guy at all, but it was useful and like my train of thought to be coherent and together. Yeah, gay Christian conservative. Well, I'm neither gay nor conservative, so it's not gonna work out. Though I could give you Matt Walsh's number. I think Matt Walsh might be interested in having you stay at his place. Journal, yeah. Conclusions. Oh, okay, here we go. Almost at the end of the book. This booklet has been an attempt to put over some of the basic ideas behind chaos magic. What you should bear in mind when reading is that you're getting my ideas on the subject. What you should bear in mind when you're reading is that you're getting my ideas on the subject. trained through my experiences and the zigzag trail I blazed through the world of magic. There are no definitive books on the chaos approach, no time-laden glamour of tradition into which the fledgling magician may step with safety. The demand of chaos magic is that you weave your own path of development rather than follow someone else's. And how you weave that path is largely up to you. Where is chaos magic going? There is no discernible, distinct path that is going somewhere. No golden bliss, blah blah blah, we get it. Pretty much a whole paragraph of saying that, boy, chaos magicians love to see their own words. But it is down to each of us to find our individual sense of self-connectedness, to throw up a semblance of order from that, from the chaos of the normal. The term gnosis also means knowledge of the heart. That which can only come from personal insight and experience, and very often is difficult to communicate to one another, other than in oblique form. Chaos magic is merely an all-embracing approach to gnosis, which encourages each individual to become responsible for their own development. What you do and how you interpret it in the light of your own experience. I'm occasionally asked by people, what do you have to do to become a chaos magician? There really isn't an answer. Appendices. Following essays are appended as sources of interest. Fractured lines. Oh, some essays. Nice. Oof. Well, we're almost done with the book. Good 2 hours reading this one as well. Black Iron Prison took about 2 hours too. Brazil? What? Oh, I thought you were Muslim. Or Eritrean. Ethiopian. You're Ethiopian, right? Afro-Caucasians, what the fuck? Sweet ball. Anyways, back to this. Almost done with this book here. I think I'll come back later for another stream, but I think I might take a break for like some lunch or something. But we're almost done here. Thank you all for sitting here listening to me read this book to you. If the will stops and cries why, invoking because, then will stops and does not. I lay possessed by a demon, obsession, twisted by talents, self-love and hatred gnawing my guts. Howling frustration into the night, and the broken dream heaped around my bed. Later. A shaft of light burns through the brooding darkness, my cloak of night, blah blah blah. Well, I don't know if... Man, don't care really. I'm sorry. Some essays of chaos magic experiences, I'm guessing. Don't really feel like reading a magician waxing poetic, to be honest. Most often not, it just comes to oh, I fucked up my whole life. And now suffering. The group obsession has 3 components. Wait, this... Howling. I would say read these essays if you want to, but I don't think these are super necessary. I guess we could read the Peter Carroll essay. Illumination, not related to Charles Carroll, or maybe? The inspiration, enlightenment, and liberation resulting from success with these Gnosis methods. Illumination is the much desired goal of which many thousands of people worldwide have employed different psychotechnologies. Illumination has been linked with the use of LSD and similar drugs, and perhaps most mysteriously of all, can occur seemingly spontaneously to people who have no knowledge or expectation of it. What characteristics can experience? What characterizes an experience of illumination? Unity, a fading of the self-other divide, transcendence of space and time as barriers to existence, positive sensation, a sense of numinous, a sense of certitude, the realness of the experience, paradoxical insights, transience, the experience does not last, and resultant change in attitude and behavior. In neurological terms, such experiences represent a reorganizing of activity in the brain as a whole system. The loss of ego boundary and involvement of all senses suggests that the reticular formation is being influenced so that the brain process, which normally convey a sense of being rooted in space-time, are momentarily inhibited. What a long-ass way to say something simple. Yeah, we're not gonna read this essay. We already get these things. We already get these ideas. No need to go fucking super wordy into it. Further reading. Cosmic Trigger. I never read or could read Robert Anton Wilson. It's too boring. Shh, no. So are we done here? Condensed Chaos. Oh yeah, he did that one too. That's a good one. Yeah, there you go. Another Discordian 2 hours with your neighborhood poem mod. Thank you all for chilling. Well, I guess I can get these 2 videos that Scroat sent me out of the way. But after this, I'm gonna have some dinner or lunch.
Are you not talking? Are you not talking?
What the fuck?
not talking.
Oh my god. Thank you, Scrot. That's one of the worst things I've ever seen in my life. Thank you for the link, though. I don't know why. The song didn't help, but it's, yeah. I'm glad now that I've seen it. I'm gonna save that to the. That goes to the fuck shit folder. Nightcore mix. Thai Cult.
In Thai Occult 2 Regions of Power, Peter Jenks takes the reader on a wild journey to the heart of a powerful living current of sorcery, exploring the amazing regional variations of Thai folk magic. What comes to light is not a dusty, monolithic tradition, but a fluid, adaptable system of spirit work that changes with the changing times. Brilliantly, Jenks lets the Thai Ajahns tell their own stories in their own words, and what they reveal about the role of initiations, astrology, karma, corpses, and ghost magic must be seen to be believed. Remarkably, Jenks also gives a detailed
Alright,
guide
now that
on how
that
Westerners
gay
can
Brazilian
participate
is
in
gone,
this
I
powerful
banned him.
occult system by caring for and communicating with the spirits contained in amulets created by Thai sorcerers.
Guessing it was one of those Cumtown boys. There's like some kind of Cumtown server. And some of them try to come in here and they try to troll. Doesn't really work too well. But that's who I'm guessing was behind the gay Brazilian man. Yeah, typically I don't like to do it with them around so they don't get the pleasure of seeing me react to banning them, even though I would do it pretty quickly and calmly. I'm not gonna have like a King Cobra breakdown over here. Oh shit, the video, my bad.
On a wild journey to the heart of a powerful living current of sorcery, exploring the amazing regional variations of Thai folk magic. What comes to light is not a dusty, monolithic tradition, but a fluid, adaptable system of spirit work that changes with the changing times. Brilliantly, Jenks lets the Thai Ajahns tell their own stories in their own words, and what they reveal about the role of initiations, astrology, karma, corpses, and ghost magic must be seen to be believed. Remarkably, Jenks also gives a detailed guide on how Westerners can participate in this powerful occult system by caring for and communicating with the spirits contained in amulets created by Thai sorcerers.
Transceiver of Keck Energies. I think you might be. He's got that fire in his soul. Pure Keck Force. Keck Force 1. Yeah. Scrote Force 1. But if you did, but yeah, like I said before, kind of. Yeah, the Discordian root, chaos magic root of the meme magic, Keck, several subversive memes. It is the root of it. But really, besides these last two things, you don't really need to know much more about Discordianism or chaos magic or even magic at all. Well, maybe you could learn a bit about the history of the traditional systems, like in what's the name of the book? Teachings of All Ages by what's his name? Yeah, look up that book so you can learn about the Egyptian mysteries, the Greek mysteries. There can be some insight in there, but nothing to practice, of course. Oof, but yeah, that took about as long as the last book did. I'll probably spend more time reading this time than fucking around. But yeah, thank you all for chilling. I hope you learned something today. I don't know if right now I have no idea for anything else I could read, but if I get the inkling, the idea, I'll do another one of these. We could go through the Book of Eris, which is a compilation of essays and art, which isn't totally good, but there's some cool pieces in there, if I remember. Oh yeah, I was thinking we could read the beginning of the Corpus Hermeticum. Get some of those, read and contemplate some of those Hermetic truths, which are just truths about reality. That would be cool. Alright, thank you, Anthol, Scrote, Hoganable, Midas. Was Chemo in here? Sicario was in here for a while, then he left. He never seems to chill. Chan. A lot of the Eggy regulars don't really hang out. Unless there's like an already established stream of back and forth. Or if there isn't a parasocial relationship, I guess it's not cool. I guess I should be more parasocial with my fans. Dasha met Trump. Oh shit. Trump on Red Scare. I have the feeling we might see that. That's definitely on the cards. Yeah, see you later, dudes. I'll come back and stream something. I don't know what yet. Scrode's gonna stream right now as well, so go hang out with them. I'll see you guys later. Peace.